It's so hard to get people to listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
It's literally the hardest medium. Everyone's like, oh, I want to do a podcast, but they don't realize you have more luck trying to get people to watch an Instagram video or a TikTok video. Welcome to the Learning to Lose podcast, where we've done over 120 episodes.
Fantastic.
And tonight we have Randy Mermell on again. We had him on a year ago. I don't know what episode it was. It was a really good episode. And now we have the new location at Graceland, and I wanted to have him on again.
There's a way to flag our favorite ones or something so we can find them and send them to people and stuff.
It's really not that hard. Like, I found the Michaelis one.
But that was the wrong Michaelis one.
I know, but like still, it's not that hard. That's literally like, I sent Randy the Michaelis podcast so he could listen to it on the way here. And when he got here, he's like, yeah, you guys were talking about like a dog, and then like it abruptly ended. I was like, what? Because we're literally about to get into Michaelis, and his opinion, or I don't know, he wouldn't even call it his opinion. He would call it as defined in what his opinion on alcoholism is, and in comparison to what we've learned in primetime about like the fault-finding mind.
There's some conflict there.
Not really as much as you think.
Yeah, but
you like making it like this conflicting thing.
No,
when it's really...
it is a little conflicting because they talk about alcoholism being this, this, and this, and then he's saying no, it's not.
I mean,
that's a big difference.
I didn't get to hear it.
Well,
so
alcoholism is two things.
What is it?
Right?
No, you're going to tell me.
It's a physical allergy and a mental obsession. It's a two-part disease. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's a physical allergy and a mental obsession.
I would say there's two things. There's being alcoholic, which means that your body has become allergic to alcohol. That is, I introduce myself as alcoholic, not as an alcoholic, because I don't know what an alcoholic is. But I am alcoholic because I am allergic to alcohol.
Right. You're not unalcoholic. You're a human.
I'm a human that is allergic to alcohol. So I have a condition called alcoholic. If I drink alcohol, I have an allergic reaction to it.
Right.
So that's alcoholic. That's what that means to me. If somebody tells me they're alcoholic, that what they're saying is they can't drink alcohol because they're allergic to it.
Yeah.
I break out in blackouts and crashed cars and trashed relationships and no place to live and pushing friends and everybody out of my life when I drink alcohol. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I have a disease.
Sorry for laughing.
No.
I laugh because I love the way you describe it. And this is actually, I think, an updated.
Maybe a little bit. Some stuff that's been evolving over time.
Can I get that iced tea? Do you want a water?
Sure.
Let's get a water. And I left my iced tea somewhere. So you have a disease.
I have a disease.
Called alcoholism.
Unfortunately, it's called alcoholism because that is the worst name they could have come up with for the disease.
Right. That's what I've been saying. Because it's confusing.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It sounds like if you take the alcohol out of alcoholism, then that person should be fine. Mm-hmm. But that is not the case. You take the alcohol out of me, and there's something wrong with me. And the reason I drank alcohol is because of this thing called alcoholism, which has nothing to do with alcohol, except that alcohol is the best, easiest to get over-the-counter drug for treating alcoholism.
And it's legal, yeah.
It's legal. It's easy.
I think
to
marijuana is closely.
It's getting there now.
It's coming up. Yeah. Okay, cool. So,
and it doesn't matter what you treat the diseases. You can treat it with alcohol, pot, coke, heroin, shopping. masturbating, whatever you need to do because what it is, right, to get out of this, to get away from this self-talking, unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind.
Okay.
Even for 5 minutes would be great.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
for 1
okay.
second apiece.
Okay, so here's the argument.
Okay.
Why are alcoholics special? I think all people have an opinionated, fault-finding, fear-based mind. Alcoholics happen to have a 2-part disease called alcoholism, which is a physical allergy and a mental obsession. That's what alcoholism is. That's what it says in the book.
That's what it is for me. I don't know what it is for you.
Well, I'm just, so I guess, and I'm just sort of trying to I don't really have an opinion either way. Like,
Sure you do.
I really don't. Actually, I was full all in prime time, like talking, like I have a disease that centers in my mind. I'm fault finding. And then like I didn't meet Michaelis. I started talking to Michaelis about it and started going through the big book where it's defined as a 2-part disease. Right. And they don't really talk about, like, the spiritual malady is the fault finding mind. And that is something all humans have. So once we figure out how to treat the disease, now let's address the spiritual malady, which all people have, which is why this program would be good for all people.
Maybe. That would be wonderful. But all people don't need it to stay alive. I do.
Right. Because you have a physical allergy to a specific substance that will kill you.
I'm allergic to sugar. I'm allergic to flour. I'm allergic to caffeine. I'm allergic to nicotine.
That's where
all of those things that I use to distract me. What I'm allergic to is being present in the moment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm allergic to. And I'll use anything to not be present in the moment.
Jeez Louise. I mean, we're literally 7 minutes in, and I'm not blowing smoke. This is the best podcast we've ever done.
I don't need it.
He says that a lot.
No, but it really is, dude. This is the best.
But I don't have an argument. I think Mikhail is whoever he is, and whatever he said, he's 100% right about whatever he said for himself.
No. But
I'll pipe in a little bit on
Yes.
this. So the big difference is Michaelis says that what we call alcoholism, our problem is a human condition, which I agree with. But I don't know that all humans have it as intense as I do.
Right.
Like, I need a fucking relief. I need a higher power or a drink.
Right.
One or the other. Or a method and a power, basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm fucked. And I won't, even if I don't touch alcohol for years, I'll fucking blow my head off or get in a fight and get killed. I mean, I'm not...
You will do whatever it takes to kill the pain of your self-talking mind. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have and how much time you have and how much you've read the book and how much spiritual progress you've made, whatever, I don't even know what spiritual progress is. But however much of that you've done in the past has absolutely no effect on this moment right now.
Right.
Okay.
Well, wouldn't you say that practice, at least you have muscle memory so you can you're like, oh yeah, this is what I need now, because you've been down that road, so you can get access quicker.
You're more aware, right?
Yeah.
You're more aware of the disease because you've seen it.
Yeah.
Because the book says the reason I don't completely give myself to this simple program is because I'm constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. So before you do the steps, you're constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself. After you do the steps, you are still constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself.
So what is it that helps you? The power helps you be honest with yourself?
Exactly. What restores you to sanity? And when does that happen?
I'm trying to remember here. That's step 2? Is that step 3?
Yeah,
Step 2.
God.
Something.
But
something.
Or power greater than ourselves.
Something.
But how do we connect to that power?
Through admitting complete defeat. Oh, you know what?
Billy, hold on.
Okay.
It's literally outlined in the big book about
Exactly
alcoholism.
how to do it. But nobody can read it and nobody can see it.
Well, I mean, there's literally a triangle
Yeah.
in the beginning
Yeah.
that explains that we have a 3-part, the disease
Yeah.
affects 3 parts of our body. And to treat it, it requires 3 parts of,
Recovery.
yeah. I mean, that's how
Unity, service, and what?
Service, unity, and
Fellowship,
recovery, service, and unity.
recovery, service.
And so this is where Michaelis he goes back to where the beginning, which is when how they went through the book by underlining, highlighting. One of the first things you do is you write, God, please bury my pride before my pride buries me. And then we draw the triangle and we explain exactly what that triangle means, which is crazy that I didn't. I mean, how much sober time do you have?
It's ridiculous.
But you couldn't even explain the triangle, or could you?
Yeah, I could.
Oh, you could.
I don't know. What do you want to know about it?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's kind of a lot to remember. It's kind of confusing. So the disease affects 3 parts of me.
I'll tell you, I have 25 years and I can't describe that triangle whatsoever.
So it affects my mind, my body, and my spirit. So I guess my question would be, what part of the program treats my mind? What part of the program treats my body? And what part of the program treats my spirit? It's a literally outline. I mean, there's what
part?
Yeah.
The fellowship or the
so
literature?
the spirit doesn't need to be treated. It's treated. The spirit is the spirit. It's completely 100% perfect, whole, and complete right now.
Not when I'm suicidal. My spirit is affected by alcoholism, by making me want to kill myself because I'm so miserable. I'm depressed. I'm sad. So alcoholism.
No, your mind is sad and depressed. Your mind is, but your spirit is unchangeable. It's unchangeable.
But
you're not in touch with your spirit,
right.
not one bit. But that doesn't mean that your spirit is not sick and does not get healed. How could it?
So what do they mean by spiritual malady then?
A spiritual malady, I think, is the fact that the spirit is asleep. 100%
So you're
asleep.
not aware or you're not in touch.
So
yeah, you have no contact with spirit whatsoever.
So this is interesting. I like this because
what
alcohol,
happens when you cry out for help? That's it. That's when the spirit gets a little awakened. When you reach your bottom and you say, God, help me. And you get on a plane and fly to a place with no money and no nothing, and you just show up because something said, go there.
But it says something like when we straighten out spiritually,
we're getting off topic,
Okay.
Billy. Please.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet. I'm listening.
No. Mind, body, spirit.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
Those are the 3 parts of.
So by the way, I am in no way an expert on Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right.
Or minds, bodies, or spirits,
right.
or God, or having a connection for anybody else's recovery.
Well, right.
I will speak 100% for my experience of what I do and what happens for me, but to pontificate upon, I could talk to you about what I think the spirit is and how I think the spirit is damaged, but that has no bearing on what's real. I have no idea what's real. I have no idea.
All I want to
It's 100% opinion.
All I want to talk about
experience.
Right. All I want to talk about is the book.
Right.
I don't want to know about your opinion or
Right.
Michaelis's opinion
Okay.
or anyone's opinion. All we're trying to do is figure out what happened with Bill and Bob and what was intended to be the solution and what that triangle means. Because we all are alcoholics, right? So we get some sober time and then we start changing what this message was supposed. I think, according to Michaelis, so Michaelis is an expert on the book.
Awesome.
That's why he's sort of helped me understand something, which I don't know for sure anything. That's why I wanted to have you on, because you've helped me so much.
I don't know anything. For sure, I know I don't know anything.
Yeah, me neither, which
Right.
is why...
Wait, that's not true, though. You do know what you're doing has helped your life.
I know I have a beautiful life today. I love my life.
So what you're doing is helping.
It is.
Because if you weren't doing it, you wouldn't have a beautiful life.
But I can't tell you.
I'm just saying, you do know one thing, that what you're doing works.
I just want to know what the book... I
What
just
is
want to
it?
know how to treat our disease.
Yes, so that has nothing to do with the book.
That's literally what the book is for.
The book is a guide,
right,
that you read and I read.
Right.
And when we read it, you and I have 1,000% opposite or different experiences.
Right.
And then I dig into it the way I do with the sponsor that I run into. And you dig into it the way you do with the sponsor you run into. And you get exactly what you need in the moment that you need it to be okay. And then you evolve. And every time I read the book, it's different. Not because the book's different, but because I'm different.
This is so amazing because I was just having this discussion with Michaelis because he's taking me through the book.
Yeah,
right?
and it's awesome. And you're at a place where you can hear the book in a different way.
Yeah, but he's basically telling me
Yes.
that the way to treat our disease,
Yes.
the only way to treat it, or not
Yeah.
the only way, actually. That's not what he said. I want to be fair because I'm gonna want him to hear this, so I have to. I don't
See,
want
what's weird is like
misquote.
Michaelis should be here, and I should be
Oh,
having
my
the
God.
conversation with Michaelis.
100%.
To have a third-party conversation with you is as insane as drinking alcohol.
No, because
It's
this is
insane.
I'm teaching this in my sober living.
Yeah. The book is
but-
awesome, and reading the book, does he read the book the way
hold-
they do in the Fellowship of the Spirit? Is that?
I don't know. Hold on one second, though. I just want to address what you just said. So somebody taught him,
Yes.
right? So, and then somebody taught that person. So,
right.
so there's no way for us to really. What you're saying is the only person that we should be talking to is Bill. He's dead.
No.
So, but Michaelis, like, I actually shouldn't even be. I don't even really need to mention his name because I know enough to be able to have this conversation because this is like part of what we're doing. And the cool part is that I'm open enough to be able to use different, like, I'm not like, I guess you could say 2 or 3 months ago, I was pretty much like, I was exploring this concept of, oh, interesting. So the only, or not the only way, but the best way to treat the disease is by taking one alcoholic through the book with another alcoholic because you're addressing this mind in the first 150 pages, the body because you're present with another alcoholic, and the spirit taking them through the book. And that's how you find God. So that's the best tool to use to treat alcoholism, according to the book, apparently.
Maybe.
But yeah, but that, I think that might be, now that I'm talking to you about it, I'm realizing humans draw a lot of conclusions, right? They see a triangle.
There was no book for the first 100 alcoholics. There was no book.
Right.
So what'd they do?
Well, they talked amongst themselves.
Okay.
They had
with
some
no book.
stuff from Oxford.
They had
here,
some
too.
Oxford stuff. So the Oxford stuff evidently is
Yeah.
almost good enough to stay sober on.
See,
in a
this
group of people that want to get sober. So you can get all
and the
you
only
can get all locked into
Here's
like
something-
this is the only way and this is the right way.
No,
and
no,
this
no.
is, there is no
Not
there
the-
is no you come in and say I give up and you find a sponsor and they take I had the best sponsor, I couldn't hear a word he said. I
Right.
realized that today.
Ted?
Yeah.
No, way before Ted.
Oh.
Santiago.
And this is the argument I was having. It got kind of gnarly because I was trying to explain to Michaelis, bro, everyone has a different thing. And as a sponsor, which he doesn't even consider himself a sponsor because it doesn't say that anywhere in the book.
Right.
He just considers himself an alcoholic taking another alcoholic through the book.
Beautiful.
But what worked for him, that's only for him. And the result that he got is only for him.
And the people that can hear him.
Right.
There are people that are attracted to him and need to go through the book the way he goes through it. And that's why he's here on the planet, to take people through the book the way he takes them through.
Yeah,
So,
that's what he says. And he takes a lot of people through the book.
And it's fantastic. And he helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
And those people all need to get... There's a Pacific group. They do a very... It's the Pacific group. They do a very specific way of
going through the
addressing the program and meetings and apparel and writing checks and helping people that need the help the way that they need it, and they end up at the Pacific group. There's Prime Time. So many people have gone through Prime Time saying, what a great meeting this is. I love this. I'll be back next week, and you never see them again.
And some go and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. Get me out of this room.
I'd like to address this just before
Yeah.
we move on, because
Yeah.
I have some questions, because we were talking last
I'm
podcast.
not ready to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, but sometimes it happens.
I do want to, though, but I just want to like finish this thing because I really like.
You really have something to say, but it seems like you're having trouble spitting it out.
I don't have anything to say. I'm
No,
just
you do have something to say.
well. I'm reaching a conclusion in my mind right now, which is that there is no, like, it doesn't matter if you're helping, if you're being of service to another alcoholic or even another human being, you're treating your disease.
Not necessarily.
Not
I
necessarily.
would say it does matter. You
Well,
do
well,
need
no.
to be following principle.
If you're connecting to a power greater than yourself, that's it. And however that's happening, that's how you're doing it. If you're sitting, meditating, connecting, cool. But like his whole thing, and I guess what the big book is saying, which, or at least what he's saying the big book is saying, is that the way we connect to that power is by helping another alcoholic by reading the book with them and taking them through the book.
Fantastic.
So I don't know.
That's great.
Is that not what the big book is saying? I don't know.
The big book does say that.
Okay. Right.
It says a lot of things.
Yeah.
It says that. It says nothing will ensure your immunity from alcohol like strenuous work with other alcoholics.
Yes. And
But when I was new, I had a year and a half of sobriety. I wanted to kill myself. I'd worked all 12 steps. I went to a meeting every single day, and I wanted to die.
yeah.
I had no idea why. I thought I was just the world's most unlucky person.
Fuck.
I thought I found the wrong girl and the wrong job and had the wrong parents and got everything. I was just the world's most unlucky person, and everyone else in AA was happy and getting it and great.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kill myself. So I would do what it says in the book. After a meeting, I would corner a newcomer, and I'd say, hey, man, how you doing? And that newcomer would look at me every time and say, oh, dude, I got 30 days. It's so great. I got my girlfriend back. I got my car back. I'm working again. Life is great. And the message that I could carry to them was, well, just you wait.
Yeah.
So that working with another alcoholic made me sicker
Yeah.
because that's where I was at.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have mattered if you were taking them through the book this way.
Nobody wanted to go through the book with me.
Right. But his whole thing, and this is why we got into this argument, is like, you're just not taking enough people through the book
Okay, good.
this way.
That's good.
It's not
So-
good. It's actually not good because I'm not buying
It's
it.
good for him,
But not
and it's
for
good
me.
for the people he takes through the book.
Not for
him
me.
taking you through the book was good.
We're only on step 2, and I'm already like not really liking the way I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough because I'm not working strenuously enough with enough alcoholics.
The craziest part when you go through the book like that, because I went through the book like that with a guy, is that when it gets to the alcohol part, I really started to feel like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not a real alcoholic. Because they harped so much on the disease side, on the alcohol side of the alcohol. And I used cocaine, and cocaine helped me get to my bottom quicker. I'm an alcoholic. I drank. I always drank. I drank before, during, and after cocaine, but I loved cocaine also.
I had the same issue. I went to other AA programs before AA because I didn't think I fit.
Right. And then when they, maybe you're not a real alcoholic. Maybe that's why the program isn't working for you. But what is a real alcoholic? It's a person that has an unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind and reaches for substances to treat that disease, and the substance that you gravitated to was alcohol.
I don't.
You think that you deal with a lot of different addicted people.
Yeah, 100%.
Some of them have eating disorders, which is
But
pretty
there's
Eating
some of them.
disorders.
But there are.
But isn't that still an unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind that causes them to want to eat?
yes.
Does it
Or
say
not
that in the
eats.
book?
No.
Okay, so
That's
a fault finding.
That's where I'm tripped up a little bit.
Fault finding mind. It does say it in the book.
It does say that, yeah.
It also says unsatisfiable.
Right. In the book.
In the big book. It
Not
says
in the 12 and 12.
alcoholics.
We're not talking about
No,
the 12
in
and
the
12.
in the big book. It says alcoholics are restless, irritable, and discontent. So discontent.
Like before we drink.
Before we take a drink.
Yeah.
Not because we're drinking too much.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm discontent as a character.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm built as an alcoholic with alcoholism.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
as
yeah.
being alcoholic with alcoholism.
Yeah.
So
We're-
it does say discontent. And where it says fault finding is in the 60 to 63, where it says, I am like the retired businessman who lolls in the Florida sunshine complaining about the sad state of the nation. That's a fault-finding mind.
So-
on vacation in Florida, finding fault with the rest of the world.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up, this part of it, by saying that Michaelis' story is very similar to Randy's, and he actually was looking for a gun, 6 years sober, doing everything. Right. And he found this because he was in a certain place and time.
Because his higher power led him to the guy that saved his life. My higher power led me to Ted.
And my whole thing is like, be careful. Like, what worked for you isn't necessarily going to work for everyone. And that's what I love about the book.
And it's not the right way.
It's
not the right way. It's a way.
That's what I love about the book. It's meant to be suggestive only.
It's a way.
It's a way.
It's a great way
Yeah.
to go through the book with another alcoholic.
It's
It's
a
a great way to stay sober.
What's-
I go through the book over and over and over again with alcoholics.
Yeah. What's another great way? Meditation and prayer.
Well, yeah, when you get to where you could do that because you've done 12 steps.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, not everybody goes through the book so detailed.
Right. So
But
what's another
But
good
you
way?
do want to read the book with another alcoholic. You definitely do.
For sure.
Some people do it super intense and underline everything and turn everything into a question and read the book like that. And some people just read through the book and have you tell them what you think is important.
Yeah.
And there's
So I'm like a scientist, right?
right.
And I'm taking this, I'm going to here. So when you said that I had an opinion, like, trust me, I really don't, right? And I'm really grateful now.
You do have an opinion. You have your opinion.
Yeah, but it's
about what works and doesn't work for you, and you're like, okay, you have your experience.
But it's changing every day.
Course, every day.
Like right now, right now I'm literally like, wow, you know what? I could just open up the book and talk about it with another alcoholic. It doesn't need to be so like structured and serious, right? That could work.
A lot
for
of
me.
people have gone through the book structured and serious. I know the groups that do it. The Fellowship of the Spirit is a big book. Hardcore people use that Big Book Awakenings book to go through the book, and they still drink. There are a lot of people that know the big book way better than I ever will, and they're drunk, or they blew their brains out.
Right. I mean, Michaelis would say it's because they're not taking enough people through it.
Of course.
But
there's always a reason.
He does he works with a lot of people.
It's fucking
every day.
It's literally,
I don't know how he does it.
And he he doesn't experience. I mean, it could all be a show or fake, or he could be hiding or lying. But I don't think he is. He doesn't ever. He's never in fear. He's never upset. He's just seems like he's just floating all the time.
Beautiful.
And he's like, you can have this too.
That's beautiful.
And
you
I'm
can
like,
have it.
Yeah. And I'm like,
only right now though, not always. Just right now.
Yeah.
So before we move, I just want to address this a little bit too, because it got me a little jumpy at first too.
Yeah.
And for one, it's like, am I even an adequate sponsor?
Right.
Fuck. I mean, I can tell you what my experience, and I'll take you through the 12 and 12, because for me, that explains everything. For the big book is cryptic. I'm like,
Yeah. It's literally like reading the Bible or reading Sermon on the Mount. Like, I prefer Sermon on the Mount because it helps me make more sense of it.
And the other thing, so we know some people who are sober just on Bible study.
Just on Jesus.
Just on Jesus.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And what do you think? You think that's okay? I mean, but they're into it. Like, they do it every day. They go to the meetings, whatever they're called, Bible study things, and they're very dedicated. Do you think that's going to be a lasting thing for them, or?
It's none of my business.
Exactly.
None of my business.
My question is...
There is no right way to do any of this.
Yeah.
The minute you think you know the way, someone in your group's going to blow their brains out. Might be you.
Yeah.
Well,
Isn't that funny? The way,
This is the way.
The Way Out was the first title.
Oh, really?
Of the big book.
Nice.
I want to argue that a little bit
Okay.
because I'm very careful about what I tell people that
Okay.
I'm trying to sponsor because
Okay.
I don't want to mislead them because there's very specific things that help me.
Yes.
And those same things help everybody. I know that because when I talk to other alcoholics that have been sober a while, they're like, yes, that works.
Caleb, you have a timer?
Tell me some things.
Awareness of the mind function.
minutes.
That helps.
That works because I know that I'm off if I start thinking about angry thoughts. Something's wrong with me.
So
And it
being
happens
aware-
really subtly and really sneakily, so I need to be aware of my mind. Another thing is presence.
Are
Being-
you I'm just curious. Are you sometimes find yourself angry and you've been angry for a few hours and now you're aware of it now? All of a sudden, oh, look at me, I've been angry all day.
No, I usually get it pretty quick. My tolerance for being off has
Was
shrunk.
there a time when you knew about awareness, but you were still angry all day, and then all of a sudden you were like, "Oh, look at me! I've been angry."
I mean, before
all day?
before prime time, I think it took me and probably you too, like a lot longer to become. I would live in.
I didn't even know I was fucking.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware.
I would
So
live.
how do you become aware of being aware?
Someone has to tell you first of all to start.
They have to tell you what alcoholism sounds like, right?
Right.
What
Yeah.
it looks like and what it sounds like.
Right, so that's where this whole thing trips me up a little bit. This is not the human condition. Is this alcoholism? Is it the same thing?
What's the difference?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just become this thing. So I guess there isn't. I don't know.
There
is no difference. That's what
I
they're saying.
have,
No,
what I have.
Right.
I don't know what you
It
have.
doesn't even matter what anyone
But what
else.
I have and what I've been shown is that I have an unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind.
Yes.
And so now I'm much quicker to see, oh, look, I'm unsatisfied.
Yes.
I feel like I need more money than I have.
100%.
I need a different job. Look at that Porsche. If I had one of those, then I'd be happy. Oh, look, I'm unsatisfied. And so that reminds me that I'm in alcoholism, so I don't have to be unsatisfied all day. I can be unsatisfied and turn.
And remember, none of that stuff's gonna fix you anyway. And just be in the we can choose.
Yeah, but doesn't it still tell you today that it'll fix you?
dude?
Isn't there a number? Like the number changes, but there's always a number. If I had that, then I'd be happy.
what you said this. Like, I know it won't fix me, but I sure like to try.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many things I've heard you say that either I've said or it just that really resonated with me and I remember. But in the moment when I remember, the number doesn't matter.
The number doesn't matter. It changes.
But
the thing changes.
But you know what's funny about the number? It's not just money.
No.
It's followers, views,
Weight, hair color,
It's like
Physical
Yeah.
health.
physical,
But like
age.
numbers.
Yeah,
are,
I'd like to go back 20 years.
Oh my
That'd be
God,
cool.
numbers are just.
It's just a thing.
It's
Whatever
so
the thing is.
they can be so powerful though.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people,
Yeah. How many people in the house?
everything, how much time.
Oh, somebody left. We're losing it.
That's why it's like I need a fucking drink. I need a drink or I need a something.
How much-
Something.
I need a treatment.
Oh, that's what you
I
always
needed
call
something.
God, something.
I
yeah.
need something.
But God really is like being in this moment. Like, oh, I'm present now. I'm in this moment. I'm connecting to God.
Yeah, because I have never, ever been able to get somebody to tell me what's missing from this moment.
That's the thing. And when you do get it, here's the thing they told me in primetime too, which I thought was so awesome, is you can have it now.
We'll have to go.
You can only have it now.
You
Okay.
can only have it now.
You can have it later.
But you
Yeah.
can't be denied it either now.
And all the reading that you did all day today, how much you could spend hours and hours in the book. You close the book and ask yourself how you're doing, and you're screwed.
Yeah,
Well-
no, yeah. It's not an intellectual game. It's an experiential thing. Yeah. I mean, you need to know a little bit.
I just love that everything in the book, because it just really comes back down to the book. That's what this conversation.
My favorite thing in the book is in 60 to 63. It asks a question in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, "What is our basic trouble?" That's a question, word for word. What is our basic trouble? So I turn that into a question for me. Okay, what is my basic trouble? I think, because this is Alcoholics Anonymous, that book should answer that question with, you drink too much alcohol and you do stupid shit. That's what my basic trouble is. But it doesn't say that. It says, aren't I really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Isn't that so interesting? That's Alcoholics
so
Anonymous.
true.
That is the big book. It doesn't say my basic trouble is alcohol.
Right. I'm driven by 1,000 forms of fear. I'm selfishness and self-centered was the root of all my problems.
All of my troubles are of my own making, and it doesn't say alcohol.
It says all of my troubles are of my own.
No. Hold on
Basically.
a second. Hold on a second.
Get a book.
What's the question?
What is my basic trouble?
Okay. As a human being, not as an alcoholic.
No, it's in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Human beings don't read Alcoholics
Right.
Anonymous. Alcoholics do.
Right. But I guess the argument is that once we address the physical and the mental part of the disease, now we start working on the human condition.
Where's the big book? Give me
Wait,
the
hold
big
on.
book.
We don't need the big book, Billy.
wanna
He
read
knows
that.
what it says. He just quoted it.
But
I want to read it again because I forgot already.
Okay. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
You're so sweet.
60 to 63. It's on 61 in the middle of the page.
Why doesn't this stuff stick in my head? It's like it just out the other ear.
No, but
You
what's
don't
crazy
read it
is
with enough alcoholics, Bill.
this is what's actually
I'm
this is
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
this is what's actually been cool though about meeting Michaelis and hearing him speak, and he's presenting like the OG,
Yeah, the OG.
which is cool, and
it's awesome. You have to go through the big book the way he goes through it.
right.
You have to go through it with him the way he goes through it all the way. Don't quit. I'm encouraging you to do it.
No, I'm
Don't back away from it. Go through it that way. Then you have to take someone else through the big book the way he's taking you through it. Because otherwise, it's all opinions about what's the right way and what's the best way and what's not.
right.
And who gives a crap?
And by taking that's his whole thing.
That's why he needs to be here to be carrying his message of the message of recovery through his approach to doing it.
his whole thing is it's not his message.
It's not his. No, it's not his message.
So that's
it's the message of Alcoholics Anonymous,
right, and that's what we're trying to figure out.
And that's what it is.
But
he's lived it, and he's carrying the message the way that only he could carry it. Everybody reads the book. Not everybody talks about it the way he does.
Right.
I read the book. I don't talk about it the way he does. I've been through the book, and I take groups of people through the book.
Right.
And what's the difference if it's one person or a group? One guy asks a question that the other guy never would ask,
So look,
and he gets to hear the answer.
I tried to get him to come, but getting you here was a whole
Oh,
thing.
it's impossible.
So he couldn't.
impossible.
He's speaking at a meeting. He's
Awesome.
He's always speaking or
That's
taking.
awesome.
Yeah, no, you'd love him. You guys would.
I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, but so we're just doing.
And there's I have no argument with him. I think he's doing. I don't know the guy.
Yeah,
but
I don't think-
Listening to your experience of him, he sounds like an awesome dude that I would like to sit down and read the book with one day and talk about it line by line.
Yeah, I mean the only inconsistency is whether or not the spiritual malady is alcoholism. That's the only question that there is here.
What does that question have to do with anything?
It kind of has a lot to do with a lot,
Like
right?
what?
Well, first of all human beings have some version of a spiritual malady, and if alcoholics are saying that they're that their selfishness and their fault finding is more, and we're defining alcoholism like that, then we're special, we're unique.
We're not special.
And we're terminally, well, but that's what,
No, the meetings,
that's kind of the whole point.
yeah, and all the other 12-step programs pull their 12 steps from AA. And AA's 12 steps treat every one of those maladies with no alterations.
Right.
Except for maybe they don't say alcohol. But I will tell you this, and this is something I think is so freaking important. In how it works, there is one word that should be changed, and it's the most damaging thing to people staying sober. It says, remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful.
Right.
I don't deal with alcohol, not one bit. And alcohol is not cunning and baffling and powerful.
What the fuck?
Alcohol is a substance that sits in a bottle that has no effect on me. If I don't drink it,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with me. Nothing.
Yeah.
If I drink it, I'm going to have an allergic reaction, and it's going to be terrible. But it's a medicine that sits in a bottle. What's cunning, baffling, and powerful is my alcoholism.
Right.
Because that's what gets me to drink alcohol, not alcohol.
The mental obsession.
Yeah.
And then once you
So
drink
that
it,
word, it should say, it would save so much time and so much, it would make the program so much easier to swallow. It should say, remember that I deal with alcoholism. So people will stop thinking that it's alcohol, and if you stop drinking, you're going to get better. And no, this is a disease that needs to be treated, a mental illness. It centers in my mind, not in a bottle.
yeah, it's like, like we remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning. Well, it's obviously not alcohol. Alcohol is obviously not what's cunning and baffling. It's how I think of alcohol.
Exactly.
Which I think is kind of pretty much like assumed.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not.
Because it sounds like it's the alcohol that's cunning and baffling and powerful. And
Right.
it sounds like if you put the alcohol aside, miraculously, you're going to get better. And so I'll ease up. I can go through the steps at my leisure because I'm not drinking.
Right.
And that's what most people do.
And it's funny how every single word is perfectly, I mean, it's
Perfect. There's not one other word in the whole book I would change.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
funny.
would change that from
I
alcohol
totally-
to alcoholism.
I totally agree. I mean, that's pretty crazy that that's what it says.
So what did you read?
Well, it's sort of slightly different, but I read
Just Billy, the mic.
So
Every podcast.
and she did, whoever that was, she did what I like to do and put it in the first person.
Absolutely.
So my troubles, I think, are basically of my own making. They arise out of myself and the
I,
alcohol.
as an alcoholic,
And I, as an alcoholic, am
an
an
extreme
extreme example of self-will run riot.
though I usually don't.
Though I
think so.
usually don't think so. Above everything, I am.
I must be rid of this selfishness.
Yeah. Above everything, I must. Alcoholic, must
I,
be.
as an alcoholic,
Oh, I,
must
as an
be rid of
alcoholic,
this
must be rid
alcohol.
of this selfishness. I must, or it kills me.
Kills me.
And I think they mean that literally. God
Yes.
makes that possible.
saying, as an alcoholic, I'm selfish. Like they're pretty much saying alcoholism is selfish.
Well, they're saying that, and it's going to kill me.
Yeah, and that's what's going to kill me. It doesn't say the alcohol. It doesn't say if I drink alcohol again, that's going to kill me.
Selfishness is going to kill me.
Yes, it does say somewhere for me to drink is to die. Somewhere.
Yes. Interesting. It's been so long.
And then what does it say at the bottom of that paragraph?
The bottom. Let's see.
The last line of that paragraph.
Many of us are. I had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but I could not live up to them, even though I would have liked to. Neither could I reduce my self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on my own power. I had to have God's help.
I have to have God's help. I
have to have God's help. And they don't say higher power, they say God.
I have to have God's help.
So what do you think we're misleading people by saying higher power?
No, not one bit. It doesn't matter what you call it. In how it works, it calls it the one that has all knowledge and all power. What doesn't matter what you call it. Some people call it Jesus. They have great recovery. Some people call it Allah. They have great recovery.
What if you call it the ocean?
You can call it the ocean so long as the ocean has all knowledge and all power.
Right. So it doesn't make sense. It has to make sense. Wow. Selfishness. Yeah. Somewhere else, it's probably in the 12 and 12, it says it's the root of our troubles.
And it says that I have the delusion, as an alcoholic with alcoholism, I have the delusion that I will wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world one day if I only manage well.
Right. And that
so
is...
as an alcoholic with alcoholism, I have the delusion, the lie that I tell myself that I believe is true, is that one day I will be satisfied if I only manage well. And manage well means go to the right meetings, read the book the right way, find the right sponsor, get the right weight.
Eat the right food, the right girl,
whatever
the right
it is.
job.
And as an alcoholic, I have the delusion that I'm going to do that.
But you can't. We can't.
It's a delusion. It's a lie. A delusion is a lie that I tell myself.
Right.
That one day I'm going to wrest satisfaction and happiness out of something else.
And you know, that really plagues me every day.
But the only solution is God. Right?
Yeah,
I have to have God's help. We just read that.
Right, sorry.
I have to have God's help.
But
yeah,
I would caveat that by saying that I need to actually be able to access God. So there's certain things, practices I must adhere to even have God.
God could and would if it were sought, not found. You
just
do not have to find God.
You just have to try.
So I read the 12 and 12. I think there's a lot of good stuff in the 12 and 12.
Yeah.
The last step, the last line in the first step of the 12 and 12 is, I stand ready to do anything which will lift my merciless obsession. Okay? I'm sober a while. My merciless obsession today is not alcohol.
What is it?
It's to be self-satisfied.
Right, satisfy self, yes.
It's to have the right girl, the right job, the right house, people acting the way they're supposed to act, people driving the way they're supposed to drive. Whatever it is of the moment that my mind is telling me, if this was different, then I could be happy. And it's the self-talking, unsatisfiable, fault-finding mind that is alcoholism never goes away. And if I ask myself how I'm doing, I'm not doing that good. Or I'm doing unbelievably great, and you're not doing that good, so I don't want to be around you. So my merciless obsession is to be self-satisfied today. When I stand ready to do anything which will lift that merciless obsession, I get to walk into step 2. And it's only on my knees, being beaten into humility by the excruciating pain of my self-talking, unsatisfiable, fault-finding, opinionated mind. When I first came in, it was because of alcohol, and I thought, yes, I deal with alcohol. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. And they taught me how to not drink.
How the fuck did I ever get convinced?
Yeah.
How did I ever get talked out? No, I was literally talked out of, like, when I discovered Primetime and I heard Randy, I don't want to be fanboy or whatever, make you feel weird.
You're not. You never call me or do anything. So you're not my fan as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, whatever, dude. I heard you share. I listened to your shares when I was in the darkest place of my life, and they literally, like, changed me.
Awesome.
I mean, I've told you this before, and
yeah,
I actually
you did tell me that.
Actually, the first time I ever met you, I told you that
it
felt like I was meeting a fucking rock star because I had heard your voice so many times, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so funny to remember.
And you're the rock star,
but
I'm
like
just a punk.
But so hold on, I was, oh my God, being shown what my mind looked like you said, helped me become aware of how when it was happening, right?
Yes.
So it just helped me so much, and I had so much freedom. And then a couple years went by, I don't know what happened, but it was shown to me through, whatever. This is the definition of alcoholism. Nowhere does it say that alcoholism is
An unsatisfiable, fault-finding,
That's a human. He's like, have you ever known any other people who aren't alcoholics who are like that? And I'm like, yeah, I have, but.
Have you ever known an alcoholic who isn't like that?
Exactly. That's where I say all alcoholics are narcissistic, but not all narcissists are alcoholics.
Right.
So yeah, it's just really.
There's no convincing anybody else. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
You.
But I mean, we are here to try to find.
There's no right way to do this. I do not have the right way to do this. Only certain people hear my CD and their head explodes. And they have an awakening. Not because of me, but because you were in a place where you could hear something. You connected with your higher power. You allowed that message to come into your mind, and your mind was open, and you had an experience. And then you can actually be talked out of that experience. So it's nothing. It's nothing. It was just something that happened in that moment. And it has to happen again in this moment.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
It has to happen in every moment, because the only time that you can have a relationship with a higher power is right here, right now.
That was another thing that was quintessential, is the right here, right now. The right here, right now is so important.
Yeah, it's...
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
So when you...
Well, actually,
It's the only moment.
what size are you? Large?
Large.
Is there any regular ones?
Like mediums?
No,
Oh,
like
you mean like just normal LTL?
Yeah,
shirts?
like-
yeah.
we
This
grab.
is the back of that shirt. Though.
We
Oh, nice.
grab one of those too.
I did. That's what I grabbed.
So those are the first 6.
Yeah.
And that's the name before they realized they couldn't use the name. Because I didn't want to do. I don't want to do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to use any of that. But I
Yeah.
just want to kind of hint
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Because this really was.
The
This
way out.
really has been the way out for
way
me.
out.
This experience and Alcoholics Anonymous. But I love that it's so suggestive, and I love that it's so like. There are no rules. There are no leaders. There aren't. It's just like let's
It's
just
like
chill
how
the
many
fuck
forms
out a
of
little bit.
Christianity are there? And how many people are there that just believe in Jesus and have a beautiful life and aren't part of any church?
Most people I know actually, or the people that I feel like are
So-
actually. Yeah.
But how many people are saying you have to do it this way?
Yeah.
But
And
that's
how-
where the
and
human ego comes in, and
That's
that's why
right.
I love what Randy's saying. He's like, I don't know. This is only and he's not trying to push it on anyone. He's not trying to like.
I don't want anybody to read the book the way I do. I want them to read the book the way they do.
Yeah.
But I have gone through the book word by word
Just so you can just
with
put 'em on the
another
table.
group and with other alcoholics. I've large.
Just put them on the.
Are they a little small?
Yeah, they're like pretty
Okay.
true to fit.
They'll work.
Why? You. It's good if they're a little small.
Yeah.
Because you're like a large, but like almost a medium. Is what you're saying, or you're like in
No, I'm
between
probably
large XL?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, then you probably want an XL,
Okay.
like me, and
Okay.
then
Yeah,
you
you
and then you
probably
wash
do.
it,
And
and,
then
it's
it shrinks.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, get all XLs.
All right.
This is really important to me.
All right. I gotta go use the restroom. real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead, please.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I mean, trust me, we will. One day we're gonna get them both on, and it's gonna be really awesome. Oh my God! Are you listening to what we're talking about? Do you understand? Can you sit down and explain what you think you understand? Are you hearing what we're talking about?
More or less, but not, I don't know if enough to like understand.
So like Michaelis has been on a few times, right? And he spoke at her meeting. She had Michaelis speak at her meeting.
Michaela sticks her through the.
Actually, here, sit down. Let's say hi. So, forgive me, but I'm like so horrible with names.
Okay, I know this.
There's no
Alyssa?
headphones, but you can hear fine.
Ariana.
Ariana, and then your sister's name is.
Alexa.
So just pull that
Fist away.
close.
You might have to pull your chair in a little bit. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
you're here. So we have Ariana here,
Yes.
and I've done yoga. You've like taught me classes that I was in.
Alexa has. That's my sister.
You were just there.
I used to work there. I cleaned there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for I think like 2.5 years.
So just the closer the better.
Cool.
I mean, to the mic.
Okay.
So how far along are you in the process of going through the book with Michaelis?
I've met with him twice. We read, I think, like the first page and a half of whatever, I forget what it is in the big book, like the first few pages.
Okay, so have you been listening to anything that we're talking about?
A little bit.
Oh, here's your book.
What's the discrepancy as far as I'm concerned? Do you know?
Yeah.
Tell us. No. Just use that one. Just go on the other side of her. No, not there, because then he won't be able to get by. So just go on that side of her and just. This is a pop quiz.
Okay, so the first thing that I heard that was like kind of a discrepancy was the thing about the spiritual malady, right?
which is
It's a sickness. It's the disease or it's the part of our disease that, like that emptiness, that feeling that like we don't have anything there, right?
But what's the discrepancy?
He said that our spirits are perfect.
No.
Yeah.
Hold on. The discrepancy is this. It's very simple. There's
Okay.
only one thing I'm trying to figure out right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
And that's whether or not the spiritual malady is alcoholism. So selfishness, self-centeredness, fault-finding, fear. Is that alcoholism? Are those words to use to describe alcoholism? Or is alcoholism just a two-part disease? Physical allergy, mental obsession. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because in prime time, we talk a lot about identifying the disease, which is the fault-finding mind. And
Yeah.
are you in fear all the time? Do you find fault? Are you
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like
closer?
the first two things, this is so confusing. Oh, there we
No,
go.
it's real simple. Yeah.
I feel like what the self-centeredness, the fear, the self-seeking is like a result of my alcoholism. It's not what makes me an alcoholic. I feel like I'm an alcoholic because of my mind and my body
Right.
and like my spirit, but like everything else is a result of like when I pick up a drink. Because when I don't have like the drink in my hand, I'm out of fear, I'm out of self-centeredness, and like I'm in the work. But the minute I pick up a drink, it's when everything goes out the door that I was taught.
Oh, but we're definitely in fear when we're not drinking.
True.
I mean, I'm almost in more fear when I don't have my medicine. The drink actually is what makes me not in fear. That's why I drink. Now I'm back into the like prime time language, Like that was when he used to talk about this at prime time. It was like, oh yeah, like the alcohol is actually the solution to my mind. It's not the problem. So what's the problem?
The mind.
My mind, right? My mind.
She's like, I'm on the spot here.
I know. I'm just like, what?
Well, how much time do you have?
I celebrated 2 years on August 18th.
right.
Awesome. Congratulations.
But
Yeah, and Michaela's she had Michaela speak at her meeting, and then he's now taking her through the book, and they've met twice.
Awesome.
Which is great, which is cool.
it's so like the Michaela's way is so radical from the way that I have gone through the book originally.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How did you go through it originally?
So when I met with my sponsor for the first time, I promised her 3 things. I would call her every day. I would do the 12 steps like my life depended on it. And when I was done with the work, I would take another woman through it. Whereas with Michaela's, he's like, okay, like we read, go teach as many alcoholics as you could. Whereas with my sponsor, it was once you finish 12, then you're allowed to start working with other people.
Right. Well, that's interesting because Bill and Bob were working with other people right away. Right? Or did they need to finish the 12 step? Do you need to finish?
There
before
again, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But I
You
guess
don't need to finish.
Right.
You need to carry a message. If it's a message of one day, hey, I didn't drink today, and you drank yesterday, so come with me. We're going to be okay.
yeah.
It's
And look,
But-
just so you know, the reason.
but you're not carrying a message of recovery. You're carrying a message of one day of not drinking.
Which is still something.
The book says this is a message with depth and weight.
Yeah.
So can you carry a message of depth and weight if you haven't done all 12 steps yet? I don't
Right.
know. I don't know.
Absolutely
Right.
not.
I think you should. I think before you sponsor somebody, you should at least have done one step more than they have. I think that for sure.
Okay, yeah. Not just one page.
No, I think you should be a step ahead.
Right, yeah.
So you have all the experience of the step that you're trying to lead somebody else through. But
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is a program of crazy people
Exactly.
helping crazy fucking people.
And that's why I'm wanting to have this discussion on this podcast.
And
because
we're all
people-
crazy people.
Yeah, no, for sure. But people, meetings, and egos have warped the message, I think, a little bit.
Sure.
And that's why I want to continue to have
But we're
these-
not going to straighten it out. We're going to keep warping it.
Oh, I fucking love this guy, dude.
Right?
He's
How
so
could we?
good.
How could we straighten it out?
Who the hell
We're
are we?
warped
We're
ones.
Right.
freaking alcoholics. We're insane people.
So it doesn't
I read
matter.
a book. Now I'm not insane. Are you? That's even more insane. I
Yeah.
went to a year's worth of meetings. Now I'm not insane. I went to 10 years worth of meetings. Now I'm not insane. I
Right.
guarantee you, any alcoholic, no matter how much time they have, you scratch them deep enough, they will go insane.
Right.
That's
Cut 'em
one of
off
the
on the
hardest
freeway.
Things to admit.
Yeah.
Go too slow in the shopping market. Getting your change out in front of me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm in a big hurry and you're not. I'm going to go insane about it. Don't make a left turn on a yellow light when I'm going to work. That shit makes me insane. Sometimes. Not all the time.
right.
Only on the day where I got up and I read my 60 to 63 as fast as I could and just read it as a perfunctory, I read every morning, so I can check that off my list, but I didn't make a connection with my higher power, and I'm not living this thing. I'm just going through the motions, and then I get in my car, and then somebody doesn't make a left at a yellow light. And I might not flip them off, because I might be afraid that somebody in a car around me might know me from a meeting.
Oh, but not.
But
'cause you-
inside, I have cut that person into small pieces with a machete.
Yeah, well, do you think there are different degrees of this? Like maybe you're a little sicker than most.
Yes,
I think
definitely.
anyone
Me
in
too.
prime
Definitely.
time probably is a little bit on
Me
the
too.
sick side.
I love that you just.
There are some people that are just heavy drinkers that come in and read the book and go to meetings and go to a meeting every day, and they live happily ever after. I know there are alcoholics.
Oh my
like
dude,
that.
I have people in this house that are a lot more like difficult than others.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and they hit worse bottoms. It was, I don't know, for lack of a better word,
they
easier
can
for them to get
recover.
sober. Yeah.
And
I have something
they're
that's
not
eating at me
Yeah,
that I
go
wanna
ahead.
ask.
Go ahead.
Please.
So it says when we straighten out spiritually, we get better physically and mentally.
Yes. 100%.
Is that the big book, or is that the
That's in
12?
the big book. That's in
So
step
then,
4.
then you keep addressing the spiritual part, but then is it? I'm confused now. What is that? Is alcoholism a spiritual malady? No, alcoholism is an obsession that we can drink safely and an allergy of the body.
I think a spiritual malady is some kind of Christian thing that I don't understand. I think that's why I have I don't know what a spiritual malady is. I know that I have a spirit, and that what I believe is that thing that's in me that is of spirit is 100% perfect, whole, and complete right now in this moment. Always has been. It's the thing that I turn to. When it says in the book, I stand at the turning point. I ask his protection and care with complete abandon of self.
Leave it on blue.
Okay? So that spirit is the thing that's inside of me that I'm going to connect with.
Okay, I get
It was
you.
never sick. It
So-
couldn't be, because then it couldn't lead me to intuitively knowing the right situation, the right answer to every situation.
So the term malady I'm interpreting as sick, but maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
No,
Maybe
no,
it's-
no. Malady is maladjusted. Like I'm spiritually
Maladjusted. So
but-
I am
but-
not.
but-
what I am is 100% asleep to my spirit.
But hold on a second. It's literally like the whole thing is, this is a disease. It's a spiritual Like that's what it's saying in the book. Is it's a spiritual malady. It's like, what does it say? The dilemma, like the whole problem is that I'm spiritually sick. That's why the only solution to a spiritual issue is God. That's the whole thing that Bill and Bob were figuring out. Like,
well, the 12th step says. The 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. It doesn't say learning how to not drink by reading a book and carrying a message to other people.
It also doesn't say learning how to live
having had
life.
a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. So the steps awaken my spirit, which is within me, which is perfect, whole, and complete, but I'm awakening it so that it becomes the guiding light inside of me rather than self, which is fully awake and is a gorilla and trying to control everything and everyone.
Right.
So we're going to awaken the spirit as a result of these steps. That's what we're going to do.
which really is just slowing us down, be more
Turning.
Just,
It's
just
turning.
let go, really.
It's turning. It's turning.
Turning.
It's turning away from self
Yes.
to a higher power
Yeah.
or spirit for everything.
We
And
stood
then
at the turning point. Is that what you mean?
we stand at the turning point right now.
It almost feels to me like I'm like running and then I just stop and like sit down. Or like turn around and start walking the other way. It's almost like that's how it feels to me, like letting God run the show and not me, you know?
That 12th
close the door,
step,
the
the
lights
way
on.
you said it is really interesting because it nullifies all the bullshit. It doesn't say we learned anything. It just basically says that having a spiritual awakening, basically meaning we'll be guided dynamically in the day we're in by spirit rather than
by the thing that has all knowledge and all power. This is what in step 10 in the big book, favorite line.
How does it look?
Can I see the book?
On
Yeah.
on the camera.
Step 10
I mean, I
is
don't know if
like
blue's a
page
good color.
96.
It's a little.
I don't know. I got to read that
Just
thing
do
more
something
often.
good and-
You got to read this thing a lot. You got to
I
read it
stopped.
every day. All right. So page.
No, we're doing it, Billy. We're gonna finish it, bro.
Tonight's Friday. We're supposed to do it on Friday nights.
Well, but we're doing something
Okay.
instead. But I'm saying,
In
like,
step 10, it says this. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from, it says him, I say it, that has all knowledge and all power. Okay? This
Can
is
you
when we
read
get to
one
step
more
10.
time? One more time.
Much has already been said up to this point in step 10. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him who has all knowledge and all power. From it that has all knowledge. I call it it because a him is like a person and that scares me and I don't want to pray to that.
Yeah.
I'm not praying to it. There is no man that is a man-like thing that is going to give me all knowledge and all power. There isn't one.
I love it. I have noticed.
We're all flawed. All humans, all all men things are flawed. And women things.
I've noticed that you've been using it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, actually.
So the goal is to receive my inspiration and guidance from that thing that has all knowledge and all power. And the beauty of Alcoholics Anonymous is that it gives me direct access to all knowledge and all power in this moment. And the 9th step says, my favorite promise is that I will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle me. That's everything. Do I get a large or an extra large shirt? I don't know. It's baffling. One's going to be too loose. One's going to be too tight. I'd rather have it tighter than loose, but I'm not comfortable in tight, so I should get the loose one. Screw it. Whichever one I get, I'm not going to like it, so just forget it. Just kill myself. That's how my mind does intuitive guidance from alcoholism.
I love that so much because and I feel like for people who aren't like that, they don't laugh hysterically when you say that. But for people who are like, and then, you know, going from the shirt to the ride home to the car to your whole life. And then all of a sudden, like, you really should just kill yourself. Like, that's what I heard Randy sharing about with the shoelace thing.
No shoelaces.
What I
Cuts
find,
down on the mental anguish.
It literally
Oh, smart.
that literally changed my life because I was like, wow, like I do that same thing. I think of any little thing to suicide.
I call that alcoholism. I don't care what you call it.
Right.
I don't care if that's your definition of alcoholism. I don't care one bit.
Yeah.
The people that gravitate to me understand that,
Yeah.
and they want to go through the book with me. The people that don't gravitate to that, go and find somebody else to go through the book if they want to live.
like what's his name? The guy that kind of started Primetime?
Bob?
Anderson. He used
Bobby
to say
Boy.
your life has to become important to you. I remember that being something I had to think about. Like, is my life important to me? I don't think it was. And then I decided to make it important.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about before you stopped drinking.
No,
No.
I'm talking about
Sober.
12 years in sobriety.
12 years
when I
in
came
sobriety.
back.
Okay, but here's the thing. There's a difference between like your outer life and your inner life. And for
That's
me, I mean, dude, my life was so important that I fucking was miserable to try to achieve goals.
You're living, you're outside.
that I thought were going to make me feel better.
Yeah.
But I had to hit a bottom in sobriety to realize I can choose to be happy in this moment without any of that stuff. And that's the life Bob is talking about.
You can
The inner life.
choose to turn. You can choose to turn.
Yeah.
You can't choose to be happy and be happy.
Yeah, I can choose to turn, but
Away from self
Here-
towards
here's
God.
here's one thing that I did kind of that we do talk about when I do this work with Michaelis is how God also exists within me. Like
100%.
I'm able to tap into that part. I can hear that, Caleb. I can hear that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I can choose to. I have a choice to worry about all this stuff, or to turn it over, or to just be okay, to just not live in fear. And the only way to do that, according to him, is to be constantly in service work with other people. So you're not thinking about self, and then it becomes a habit. And it's interesting, that approach. You know,
Great approach.
yeah, it's really, and it's not just great for
It
you,
works.
but it's also working.
But
It's also
so the first line in the 12th step is having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. That's the first line. I try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all my affairs. So the 12th step is not about sponsoring other people for other people.
it's about
You don't help anybody. I have to carry the message because if I'm not carrying the message, I'm going to die of alcoholism because I'm not going to stay close to it. The way to keep the message alive is to carry it. For me, not for you.
yeah, and that's where I'm just
That's why it doesn't say sponsor people.
and that's
It
why
says
I'm
do
gonna-
the 12th step, read this book, and talk to other people about it.
and I'm about to get like super real right now. And I love you, Michaelis. Like, I'm super grateful for you. But the other night when we got into this argument, it was because I was noticing some ego coming through the phone. And he was saying things like, if you want what I have.
I wouldn't talk about him being that he's not here in the room to tell you what he was saying
Right.
compared to what you heard.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because we can't talk about people that aren't in the room.
So I'll just speak for myself.
Your side of the story.
My
What you heard.
my fault finding,
Right.
unsatisfiable mind,
Opinionated
mind heard something that I thought was like an attack on me,
Yeah,
or
of
like
course.
direction, or like
course.
advice on how to live my life, which probably was not his intention.
Probably.
And I probably was having a bad day, and it turned into this 2-hour discussion over just what I forget even what happened. But I'm really grateful that
We
you just
stopped fighting everyone and everything.
I actually just quoted that you the other day.
That's not me. That's book.
Well, no, I quoted the book through you in reference to how you dealt with the whole Astrid situation.
how you interpreted how I dealt with the
You
astral
stopped fighting.
situation.
Well, you know how the advice you gave me, which was from the book, which
Right.
was cease fighting everyone and
Right.
everything. When I called you after this whole thing happened on his birthday, which was
Right.
a travesty, which is actually
Right.
now in, I don't know if you've seen episode 4.
I haven't seen anything.
Bro.
I'm sorry.
No, but like, bro, he hasn't even
I don't want to see
seen
it. I don't want to see it
Yeah.
because I'm not interested. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to see
No, but
somebody.
it's not- it's
I don't
not-
want to see anybody implode. I don't want to see anybody go through pain. I don't want to see any of that.
Well, Billy,
I want to see the best parts. I want to see where you've invited this higher power into your life, and your life is working beautifully right
I want
now.
to speak on that when you're done. On
Go
that,
ahead.
it's not, Randy, it's not, when we watch a movie,
Yeah,
the only reason it's good in the end is because
Yeah.
you saw how hard it was to get there.
right.
So that's what this whole show is about. And during the quarantine, we started growing on TikTok, and I
Right.
started filming everything.
Right.
And it's a coincidence that all the most intense, exciting, dramatic, beautiful parts of my life happened that year that I happened to be filming this thing with Billy. He lived at my house, opening the Sober Living, looking for, I mean, so much was captured. It's literally the most, it's like my masterpiece. It's
Right.
better than any, I've done all kinds of, I've put out albums, I've done great shorts and commercials and a lot of video production work. This is the best thing I've ever done in my life. It's the thing I'm the most proud of. I'm not saying you need to watch it. I'm saying that like,
Well, I would
was-
watch it for that.
I was watching it last night. I was showing because I invited Michaelis to do the podcast. Right? He's like, "Oh, I'm speaking at a meeting."
I don't think I could watch it because it hit home.
Oh,
pretty
you've never
hard.
watched it? I almost was in tears, but then you emerged into a butterfly, like you said. You know what I'm saying? And like he now has like more freedom than he's ever had. He's running his company.
It all worked out for the good.
It all
My
works out.
relationship with my daughter's better because now when I'm with her, I can actually just focus on her and I don't have
Right.
work and all that other junk in my head.
But the reason it even came up last night was because there was this girl here, Kaylani, who's going to do the podcast, who's really awesome and deep in AA. She came to your meeting too. She was like, I was like, oh yeah, Randy's, you've heard of Randy, he speaks this, that, primetime, and then somehow her name came up and then she was saying something about speaking. I don't know. People were like, I don't know, getting up and leaving because she was saying some crazy shit about like her God not being a man because anything with a dick is fucking just some fucking shit Astrid would say. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's helped me and you.
Millions, hundreds, thousands of people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about millions.
Thousands.
But yeah.
The reason I have the group that I have in London is because of Astrid.
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. It's weird how relationships bend and twist and all kinds of interesting things. And
Crazy.
the heyday of primetime was so amazing. I don't know, was it a year or something? But I remember I used to look forward to Monday nights.
So
and I would
good.
get fed. And I would be I'd be looking forward to going the next week.
Yeah.
Me too.
Something changed at some point where but it was,
Bro,
it was amazing.
I brought a whole crew. Like we would show up like 10 deep. It was so epic, dude. It was like the best. And there was a magic in that room, and it
There
wasn't just
was.
Randy. It was like
Everybody,
Jonathan
yeah.
and I really like Jonathan. Your sponsor Matthew
Oh, my sponsor,
or Matt or
no, Michael Anderson.
Michael.
Michael Anderson.
But then there was your sponsor, the music, the guy who
Matt.
did, Matt,
Matthew.
like, Matthew, like dude, there was just some
there were
fucking
there was a great
heavy
thing
hitters.
when it was what it was.
It wasn't just,
But
it really helped me.
Those guys are all off doing it their way now somewhere, and it's happening. It's still happening.
Yeah.
It's all still happening.
Okay, this is one thing I want to discuss. 'cause-
Okay.
Before we do that, I just want to let everyone know that Randy has a great meeting. We should have done this in the beginning, but I don't want to do it at the end because the longer we wait, the less
Okay.
people will hear it. So he has a meeting on Saturdays and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. on
11
Zoom.
a.m.
And
on
do you want to
Zoom.
just tell everyone
wow.
if they want to?
Yeah, if you wanted to have the meeting ID.
Well, I don't know. Like if anyone's listening,
So there's a Facebook group for people that want to be part of this, carrying the message the way that I carry it, called Principles in Application. It's a private Facebook group. You have to ask to join, I guess. So you could go there, and then all the information for all the meetings is there. You can go to randymermell.com, and there are a ton of podcasts there. I think 1,000 podcasts have been downloaded.
Oh, right. No. There's not 1,000 podcasts. There's 1,000.
No, there's 1,000 downloads
of
different talks.
11 or 12 that you have.
Oh, no, now there's probably, I think there's like 50 up there.
Right. Okay, cool.
I think it's been like
So
a year, and we do 2 a week.
RandyMermell.com.
RandyMermell.com.
Can we make sure we put that link in the thing?
Plug it, yeah.
And you're not on TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok. I don't go on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm going to say, but whatever.
I'm doing a retreat in
Really?
April.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that.
And outside, an hour and a half out of Nashville, Tennessee, in the
that's
most
far.
beautiful
Bro, can
spiritual
we, like, try-
place on the planet. You guys have to come.
Can we try to go, Billy?
It's not an AA retreat.
Hey,
by the way.
if you plan it out, I'll go. But
Okay.
there's no way I don't plan. So
Well, I'm gonna
yeah.
try to like make this happen with us, and I mean maybe even there'll be some guys. Maybe if we can, how do we go, or is there something?
So if you go to my website, there's a thing for the retreat.
Yeah.
You can click on that.
And you have room
you
for,
make
like-
a deposit.
We have room for-
room for 40. And then there are dorm style rooms that have like 2 people in a room, but it has a bathroom down the hall.
Uh-huh.
And then for like people that need the privacy, there are some rooms that have their own bathrooms.
Is it co-ed or men?
It's co-ed. And it's not AA, but it is primarily for people in 12 steps to find the whole purpose of the weekend is to just try to find a place where a quiet mind could happen.
So there's civilians who attend.
Yeah. What's that?
There's civilians who attend.
I don't know. There will be eaters there. There will be drinkers. There will be cocaine addicts. There will be potheads. There will be nicotine people. I mean, it's open to anyone working 12 steps because it's the same 12 steps.
Yeah.
I don't get bogged down in the...
you don't have to sit.
I'm just listening.
That's
It's
great.
very
I'm
interesting.
very glad you're listening, but I don't want you to feel obligated to.
Oh,
this is
no.
kind of how we do it. If someone wants to sit and say
Yeah,
something,
that's great.
so I would love
That
to
was
bring.
just
I would love to
fascinating.
go with what?
This is fascinating.
Yeah, we're getting deep.
I like it.
I love when I have people on who have spent a lot of time and energy studying. I love having experts on, and not that you're an expert, but you've spent a lot of time and energy researching this solution and
Practicing it in my life. That's
applying
it.
For
Applying
himself.
it
Yeah.
in my life. For my life. Not for anybody else. Not to teach it. Not to carry. The only reason I carry the message is because if I don't, I won't have it. I'm the guy in the first step in the 12 and 12. Who cares anything about prayer and meditation?
I just read
let
that.
alone a God. Who wants to sacrifice time and energy carrying the message to the next sufferer? No. Alcoholics, selfish and self-centered in the extreme, don't care for this prospect unless they have to do it to stay alive themselves.
So when I got here, you were out in the corner meditating. Like, I was like, where the fuck is Randy? And somebody was like, oh, he's meditating. And I'm like, but where? And he was in the darkness over by the villa. So how did you end up there doing that, and why?
Because there's a whole step sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God.
But why right there and
Right
then?
now.
Prayer and meditation.
Because what else would I be
Conscious
doing?
contact.
I could have sat somewhere else and talked to myself.
Oh, because Madison left. Caleb.
No, that was the thing to do. And
Right.
we're going to come here and talk about spiritual principles I probably should get as right spiritually and quiet
Yeah.
so that maybe I could listen, and if you ask me a question, I could hear the question, and maybe
Isn't
I
that-
could carry a message.
Yeah, because isn't that crazy how like warped our message can become if we're like fucked up, or just how like I feel like in the past I've said and done things that I'm just not proud of because I was not in a good place.
when you
Obviously.
do that in a marriage, I mean, your wife is incredibly tolerant. But God bless her heart. But
Caleb, that's a clip right there, bro.
But when you do shit like that in a relationship, sometimes they'll never forget. Or I'll never forget if someone, and they don't even really mean it.
Yeah, but I don't really like say Or do
Maybe
I?
you don't. I mean,
I'm just
good.
I'm just a little bit crazy, but like my heart is big and I'm honest and I love and I'm like,
yeah.
It's very easy to be spiritual when you're not in a committed relationship.
right.
I want to. There's one thing I want to
Yeah,
talk
what do
about
you
because
wanna
this
talk
is
about?
everything for me. This is what I discovered in prime time, and this is what I try to pass on when I carry the message. I really like. Okay, and the tragedy, the beauty is kind of hinged on the tragedy, right? And so, like I just did a first step my way, which is probably all wrong and fucked up, but I did go through the literature, and you say we're mentally ill, right? And we're unconstitutionally unable to be honest with ourselves. The literature says
The book
that.
says that. I don't say it.
But it's so hard for me personally and to try to get the other person to really understand what the depth and weight of that is, which is you're going to live a miserable fucking life and then die one day. You're going to miss out on life. You're going to be tortured, and that's it. And it's over. Like, that's what it's saying. That's how I interpret it. And when I came to primetime, they talk a lot about what you're up against, right? That's what you're up against, the disease of alcoholism. But the most amazing thing that I discovered is you can have peace now.
Right now.
And that peace now, I don't know if everyone has had this experience, but the peace now it's more than okay. It's a connection that you can almost feel viscerally, like you're connected to the universe, the earth. It's a spiritual experience that you cannot be denied. Only you can deny yourself that, and only you can have that, choose that. But it takes this humility. It takes this turning away from self towards. But there is something to be had that is beautiful. Like, you can't even really describe it. And it's real. I know it's real because I experience this, not all the time. But I try to carry that message to other people to understand, like, when they're suffering, you can change within seconds. You can go from self to, I love that, standing at the turning point, turning away from self. Because until someone describes it like that, you just, I'm standing at the turning point, whatever that means. You don't even think about it until someone puts it into words like that. But that's really true. You're selfish, self-centeredness, that's our problem. That's it. What I want people to know is you can have peace. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful experience.
So bring them there. Bring them here. Bring them here. Here's how you do it. I'm going to talk right now. While I'm talking, we're already here. It just happened. I can feel it. It just happened. All I did was mention that we could do it right now, and everybody in the room went right here, right now.
Yeah.
Right? You felt it?
I honestly, every time Billy talks about this, I go there.
Okay. So I'm going to keep talking. As I'm talking, I want you to have a mantra in your head right now, asking God, this is what I want you to say in your head. God, please help me hear what's being said. Please help me hear what's being
Just
said.
over and over?
Yes.
Okay.
God, please help me hear what's being said while I'm talking. And I'm going to talk. And it doesn't matter what I say. You just keep saying, God, help me hear what's being said. And I'm not going to talk about God because I don't want it to be a talk about God that you think somebody has to talk about God in order for you to be present in this moment. But if you will right now, ask God to help you hear what's being said. You cannot not be present because there's no room for self to get in and talk to you about what's being said because you're concentrating on God. Help me hear what's being said right now. He's thinking about it. I can see him thinking. He's thinking about what I'm saying and trying to have the experience.
No, I'm trying to fix the audio.
He was doing something else. He wasn't with us in the room.
God. No, I literally, as you were doing that, I went, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I heard a buzz and I was gone. There's a buzz.
God.
It's crazy.
Please help me hear what's being said. Stop. The buzz doesn't matter.
Right.
Nothing
It's really,
matters.
Yeah, that's my
This
thing,
is the
though.
only moment that matters, right here, right now. This is the only moment that you can have the experience of being present. God, please help me hear what's being said. You guys are thinking about it again. I can see when you start thinking about it and trying to have the experience, your eyes are darting all over the place. Just look at me. Just be here with me.
It's such a difficult thing to do, though, to not listen to the.
God, please help me hear what's being said. So practice it now. This is a technique for being present, which is the only time you can have a relationship with a higher power. I'm not saying practice it now with me right now. You could stop now if you want to talk to yourself again about anything. But if you want to have this experience of being connected anytime during the day and having the peace, when someone else is talking, you ask your higher power to help you hear what they're saying. So the last line in the 12 and 12 in the second step says, true humility, the humility that I am alcoholic, that I can never ever drink alcohol again, and that my life, my thought life, my inner life is unmanageable by me. It doesn't say that in the book. It doesn't say that at the end. The second half of the first step doesn't say my thought life, but that's what's unmanageable, because when I'm not drinking, I can tie my shoes. The shoe story. I can drive my car. The yellow light story. I can do all these things, but I can't do them and be at peace. So, and I can't tell what my mind is going to come up with next in the next second. It's going to say, who is this asshole? Why didn't he shut up? We've been doing this too long. Shut up. Whatever could pop into your head. Or a trip to Hawaii could pop into your head, which has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with what's happening right now, right? So, true humility, the humility that I have, that I am alcoholic and that I have alcoholism, and an open mind, a mind that's open to right now being exactly the way it's supposed to be. Not open-mindedness, an open mind, a mind that has no preconceived ideas, can lead me to faith. And every AA meeting is an assurance that God or something will restore me to sanity if I rightly relate myself to it. Going to meetings doesn't restore me to sanity. Reading the big book doesn't restore me to sanity. Working with others doesn't restore me to sanity. Unless I am rightly relating myself to my higher power. So what that sounds like in my head is, God, I'm full of fear. I don't want to look like an idiot. I'm going on a podcast. Could you help me? Could you be with me? Could you help me with my fears? Could you guide me and protect me? Could you help me to be the man that you would have me be? Could you speak through me? And when but rightly relating is telling that power what's going on in my life and being as honest as I can be with God. And then I get to have this thing they call being restored to sanity. And what I call sanity is a quiet mind. It's just a quiet mind. It's just a moment of quiet. One moment. That's all I ever wanted. I want the right car so my mind will shut up about cars. I want the right wife so my mind will shut up about wives. I want the right amount of money in the bank so my mind will shut up about money. That's all I want. And right now in this moment, in a relationship with my higher power, my mind will shut up about everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm not energizing it.
And that's even if you're dying of cancer, if you're living on the street, or you're in a high-rise, 5-star hotel.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
If you're in the emergency room with your daughter and she can't breathe because her throat's so sore. I had that experience 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Whoa.
Sitting in the emergency room, 100% at peace, talking to God.
Wow.
Knowing that, look at how lucky we are. We're in an emergency room. If we were in Afghanistan, there's no emergency rooms right now.
Right.
How lucky are we?
Yeah.
And I was just 100% at peace. And I went to the emergency room once with my wife. She had something wrong with her stomach. And I sat in the world's most uncomfortable chair praying, had the most beautiful experience. And the thought creeped into my mind, oh, great, your wife's got appendicitis or something. She's going to have surgery. You're supposed to go to the Bahamas next week. This sucks. That thought popped in for a second, and I thought, no, look at how great this is. We're in a hospital. We have the best doctors. Everything I need is at my fingertips because whatever, I don't know why, but she's in the best place she could be if she had to have a stomach ache. And I was in the best place I could be being there with her. And then I went on that trip to the Bahamas because she got out of the hospital and I was able to go. And I was on that trip, and my brother did something that pissed me off so bad I couldn't speak. And all I wanted to do was get off that frickin' boat. A little private yacht in the Bahamas where you would think, okay, anybody could be happy there. All the food, all the drinks, all the everything you could want being provided.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kill myself or him.
Been there.
With a spear gun. Slowly.
Been there.
Did you have a spear gun with you?
Oh, yeah.
So wait, what? But did it show?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't talk. And there was nothing I could do to get out of it.
So he knew you were upset.
Everybody knew.
Wow.
I couldn't talk.
So what'd you do?
I prayed.
And you just sat there and just
Eventually it
tried to get out of it.
It took a day.
Wow.
It took 24 hours.
Would you be willing to share with us why you were
I can't remember what it was. Like an ego thing where
really
it was just an ego thing where like one brother got the better bedroom and he was the younger brother and I thought I should have it, and then another brother made fun of me because he has the more money, so that's why he got the bedroom. And
so wait,
it was like some ego thing.
Do you have two brothers?
I have three brothers.
You have
and all three of them were on the boat.
So there's four of you.
There's 4 boys and a girl.
And you guys you guys have good relationships?
Yeah.
And then, but then there's the
sibling rivalry.
I have a younger brother,
right?
Same situation, and I have peace. I don't really trip on
sometimes
all the. Well, I don't. Yeah, it used to be a thing, but it's really not at all anymore. It's weird. It's weird, but yeah, there's definitely my mind could definitely see where he's been very, very fortunate and helped, but like it's just it doesn't matter.
None of it matters.
Yeah, I mean, it's I love it
because the day before I was in the same exact situation and it didn't bother me one bit. And then that day, for some reason, maybe it was 7 days on the boat, no meetings.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, that day it got under my skin and there was nothing I could do about it. I was defenseless against alcohol.
So the point you're making.
The thought I just had is, can you believe we haven't had a drink with the mind that we have?
It's impossible.
It's amazing.
It's impossible.
I know. Yeah. And that's, my being around like marijuana as much as I am, that's like the thing that, I mean, it's not an option. I can't, I know I can't do it. So I don't, but like, that's one of the big reasons why we've grown on the internet is because I'm showing people that you can be in a relationship with somebody who's gets high every day.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. That's not like, if I'm not okay, it has to do with me and what I'm not doing or whatever, like what you said,
Yeah, we can go anywhere and do anything because I don't need to be treated. I'm treated.
What about this? This is one thing, and we used to talk
hold on a second. I don't need to be treated.
I don't need to smoke pot.
Oh,
I love my life now.
I'm treated.
I wouldn't smoke pot right now for all the money in the world. I just don't. It wouldn't add anything to my life right now.
But all the money in the world would add something to your life. So I don't know about that.
But I don't know how much it would be worth it.
Right.
Because I'm not a guy that can smoke once and be done.
Right. What were you gonna say, Billy?
I'm just wondering,
Ariana.
I'm just wondering, do you crave drugs or alcohol ever?
I think this is funny because my best friend was in town last weekend and she's a normie and I took her to the Bamboo Room in Westlake. It's like this new kind of cocktail lounge. I mean, everyone was drinking. There were people doing bumps of cocaine off their keys and no part of me wanted anything to do with it. I was like, there are times when I have a bad day and I'm just like, oh, a glass of wine. That wouldn't be bad. But I know at the end of the day, the consequences of picking up a drink, it's not worth it. Like, I love my life in sobriety, and there's like no part of me that wants to even like entertain the idea of what would happen.
You love your life in sobriety?
Yeah.
Just wait.
You just wait.
No, like there's
just
definitely
joking.
been like the ups and downs, and like
It's got to be hard
I
sometimes.
think
Oh,
about
yeah.
drinking sometimes.
Me
I
too.
do think I think about just getting stoned.
That's what
I think about smoking a big joint sometimes. But I would have to give up the relationships, all of the relationships that I have, all of them.
all your fault.
Can we just grab your phone and put it over there?
No.
Well, because the phones, like,
Oh, they cause a
yeah,
interference.
I think that's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
You sure it's not my breathing? Because I do long.
No,
slow breathing.
the phone signal, like,
Well,
it's not
don't
just.
you think I think we've gone as far as we could go tonight, don't you?
I think it's been great.
Oh, that's
been
true.
awesome.
You
I
have
think-
you have to drive home and sleep and work. Oh, tomorrow's Saturday.
I
Woo!
work every day.
Yeah,
I work every Saturday.
I think we have.
Tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. You want to continue this? So at all of my meetings, the first thing that we do at the
How do I
beginning of the
get
meeting.
on? I'm not tech savvy.
Okay,
How do I
if you
show
just
up?
want to get on, you go to Zoom,
Okay.
and the meeting ID is 310
I'll show you, Billy.
487 0742.
Every Saturday.
Well, I got to write that down.
You have that somewhere, but don't tell anybody where.
Wait,
And then
you're just saying it on the podcast.
that's okay. You can go there. They can all come.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's welcome.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
if they
won't-
blow up the podcast, it's not the podcast, it's the meeting. It's
Right.
the Zoom.
Right.
If they blow it up, they blow it up for a day.
Oh, shit, I'm
most
working
people
tomorrow.
will come for a minute and we meditate for 20 minutes. Then we do the third step prayer. You want to have a little experience right now? We could do the third step prayer to close.
Yeah.
A guided third step prayer.
I love
the way
it.
that I like to do it.
I love that.
Okay, we'll do that. And then on Saturdays we're reading the literature. And we're reading 60 to 63 right now. And then we're going to go back and read the first step out of the 12. Well, first we're going to read Tebow. Surrender versus compliance, one of the best pieces of literature on the planet.
Wow. So you're doing,
Is it 1 hour?
It's an hour and a half.
so you're
11 to
you're
12:30.
using all the literature.
I use Tebow. I read 2 of the Tebow papers with the groups that I go through or the people that I sponsor. I read 2 Tebow papers, and I read out of the Big Book and the 12 and 12.
Not the Sermon on the Mount.
No. Sermon on the Mount is not AA-approved literature.
Oh.
The 12 and 12 is.
The Tebow
The
paper?
Tebow is.
Really?
Tebow is.
What constitutes AA approved?
AA approved it. Central office.
So-
Central office
but
put their
like-
stamp on it.
So there's
I
like
guess.
an actual list.
And I'm not positive that Tebow is approved by AA.
Right.
Because he's not writing, it's not AA literature. It's a psychiatrist talking about what's wrong with alcoholics,
Right.
but describing alcoholism and
Right.
ego and self
Are-
and the human condition.
Right. Are all of Bill's books AA approved?
I think so.
Right. That would make
Because
sense.
he was AA at the time. I mean, he
Right.
was central office.
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. Right. What about Bob Anderson?
Bob Anderson's not AA approved.
Oh.
No, because all of the profits from the book have to go to AA for it to be AA approved.
Oh. Okay.
All of the money goes to AA.
Okay. So Emmett
Is the
Fox
Zoom
is
meeting
probably
recorded? Because I
Is what?
Is it recorded?
It's recorded every day. You can go on Spotify and
Oh.
go to Randy Mermell Love Your Life on
Oh.
Spotify. Put that in,
Randy
and
Mermell
it'll
Love Your
take you
Life.
to the. It'll take you to my.
And then I'll see the date.
You've listened to it.
Yeah. I've had. It's like something I've done in the house multiple times.
So we just started going through the books. So this is I record every single Saturday.
Yeah.
I record the whole meeting, but
Okay. So
the Saturday meetings are a lot more now me.
do we have an 11 a.m. Wednesday or Saturday spot we can have the house join this meeting?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So it is recorded. I'm going to listen to it later,
Okay.
Dude, we need to do that, bro.
and I'll ask him
That would
how to
be
do it because I'll
epic.
forget. I'm
That
not.
would
I'm
be
not
so
a
good
computer
for the
guy.
house, bro.
So the password, if you put in, for anyone who wrote down the Zoom meeting ID, 310-487-0742, and then the password is 2655597.
How do you remember that?
I know.
Crazy.
So crazy.
I've put it in so many times.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would be so dope. What are we doing Saturday at 11
Um,
a.m.?
Saturdays are free days.
What about Wednesday at 11 a.m.?
Wednesday, perfect.
That's literally perfect.
Wednesday's not a little day, but it's still a great day.
We're just
come.
I'm gonna try
Just
to
come.
make I'm gonna try to make Wednesday 11 a.m. like a house part of the schedule.
Cool. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be epic.
Be really good for the people in the like are in the house still.
Yeah, so a lot of
What's
people.
weird is that there's a whole step called Step 11 that says we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. And it doesn't say when. I think it's the word sought means right now, I think. That's my interpretation of the word sought. And it talks about God could and would if it were sought. It doesn't say if you seek God, which I think is something you might do later. You might go seeking later. But sought is like right now. And so the 11th step, by the time you've gotten to the 11th step, the goal is to be soughting through prayer and meditation, conscious contact with God right now.
Like basically,
Always.
basically just trying
Soughting.
to right.
So
But I think sought is like trying, but in the present
Yeah.
tense. Like
Yeah,
just
so-
seeking, like just trying to do something right now.
So asking God to help you hear what I'm saying right now would be a form of prayer or a form of meditation. Or the other thing you can do to get present is just become aware of your breath going in and out of your body again right now. When was the last time you actually took a conscious breath in and out? Breathing is the only thing that's always happening right now.
I do that every day. That's one.
Yeah,
of my
Billy's source of inspiration.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right. Third step prayer, we'll finish it with that.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a few breaths. And just focus your attention on your breath going in and out of your body. And so we're gonna come on down. We're gonna practice the third step as a practice, not as a prayer. And we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna breathe in one line of the prayer at a time. Breathe in and breathe out. So the first line of the prayer for me is the word God. So I breathe in the word God. And then I take a few breaths and I try to connect with that thing inside of me that I have no idea what it is, but I call it God or higher power or infinite intelligence. And just take a few breaths and try to connect with that thing that you're calling out to, God. Then I breathe out the next line of the prayer. The next line of the prayer is, I offer myself to thee. And I take a few breaths and I think about it. First of all, I think about, what am I offering? What self? My hands, my feet, my voice, my thoughts? What am I offering to God? Sometimes I like to think about, how committed am I to this idea of offering myself, all of me, to this thing called a higher power right now. And I breathe in the next line of the prayer, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. And I take a few breaths and I think about, what would God want to build with me or do with me today? If there is a God, and if it could use me, what would it want to build with or do with me today, right now? breathe out the next line of the prayer. Relieve me of the bondage of self. And I take a few breaths. And I think about, what would my day-to-day be like? What would my life be like right now if I had no story, no old ideas, no opinions, no past whatsoever, if I was completely relieved of the bondage of my story? And I breathe in the next line of the prayer, that I may better do thy will. And again, I take a few breaths and I look at my life. How much better could I do God's will if I didn't have my story running in the background? And I breathe out the next line of the prayer. Take away my difficulties. And I take a few breaths and I think about today, this day, today. What were my difficulties? What got in the way of me being the man that God would have me be today? And what would it be like if those difficulties were removed? And I breathe in the next line of the prayer. That victories over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. And I take a few breaths and I think about, what would my day be like if my story was removed? If all of my difficulties were removed and I came in contact with somebody and touched them with God's love, God's power, and God's way of life, what would that feel like? And I breathe out the last line of the prayer. May I do thy will always. That's the way I like to do the third step prayer. I just started doing that recently. I spent my whole first 33 years of sobriety saying it like a thing that you say. Mm-hmm. And somehow saying it is going to change my life.
Like memorized it, yeah.
Memorized it. I know all the words. But when you do it like that, it's like, oh my God, really? Do I offer myself? I don't know. How committed am I to that? So
I really, really like the if my story wasn't playing in the background, that's really the thing that prevents me from being the blessing.
Yes.
From doing God's will.
Yes.
That's all the thing, all the story. There's
story.
so many things that
100%.
we each have our own thing.
Yep.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Great times.
That was awesome. Thank you, guys.